Alright, today we're going to be adjusting the parking brake. It's been about 100,000 miles since it's been adjusted. So since it came out from the factory, as you guys can see, the parking brake comes up all the way and doesn't even really lock up. I want it to be adjusted where it's really nice and firm off like maybe 3 clicks. And how we're going to do that is take off the wheels, and that all starts with jacking up the car. So let's go ahead and begin. Oh yeah, that's right. We have a new floor jack. So we're just going to go under and then jack up from the pumpkin on the back of the differential. And that should be able to lift both sides up at equal heights. Also, it's probably a good idea to have these front 2 wheels chalked off, just so your Jeep doesn't roll up and kill you. Now, it's also super important to not trust your jack and use jack stands. I'm just putting it under the axle tubing. Should work just fine. And there we go. Now I'm just going to put the jack back up and just give it one extra push, just to give it a little bit of extra support. Next up, after you have the wheels off, what you want to do is take off your brake caliper assembly. So, real easy. 2 13mm bolts up top right here. Let's see. Maybe if I loosened them up. Okay. One. And then the one at the bottom here. Okay. Now you want to get a piece of wire or a zip tie or a bungee cord and hang up this caliper so you don't hang it on this rubber line. If you hang it up too long or you put too much stress, you can actually rip the line, and that's just going to be annoying. Brakes are super important, so you want to maintain them. So take that wire. I'm just tying it up here to the sway bar, the rear sway bar up here. Now that that's off, we can move on to taking off the caliper bracket, which is just an 18mm on the top and the bottom here. Pretty easy to find. So, and these bolts are super cool because once you get it just initially loose, you can just take the rest off with your fingers. There's 2. Now here's a good time to check your brakes as well, and these look just fine. Now you guys may not have these wheel spacers, but I do, so I had to take these off. And the wheel might spin as you try to take it off, but I just set the e-brake real quick, and that'll lock this back hub. So I'm just gonna get my breaker bar, my 3/4 or whatever size you have. These are Loctited on, so I usually just like to use a little mallet to kind of give it some gentle persuasion. And just like that, this thing comes off. Alright, now it's time to take off the rotor. If you're lucky, this thing will just pull right off. I'm not, so you just want to get your hammer and hit on the face right here and hit on the sides. So it also helps if you let down the parking brake. There we are. Alright, now here are your brake shoes, up here and up here. And here's the adjuster right here. So before you touch anything, what you want to do is get you some 50 States rake parts cleaner and just spray everything down. Over time, dust gets in here, a lot of dirt. And you just want to give it a good clean. Check for any leaks in here where the axle seals are. That's pretty important. If you see a lot of oil leaking out, then you have another problem with your outer axle seal, which you'll need to address, or your gear oil will just keep leaking out and then you won't have any, and then you will seize your rear differential, which is not a fun day on the trail. And now we are going to focus on this right here. So it's actually a very, very simple process on how to adjust. So what you want to do is pretty much you want on this side you want to push it to where this goes clockwise, so this way, and on the passenger side you want to do it where it goes counterclockwise. So pretty much you can move the spring out of the way with one screwdriver, and with your other screwdriver adjust. Alright, hopefully you guys can see sort of what's going on. But anyways, just gonna turn this a few times. Kind of helps if there's not a camera in your way, but I'm just gonna turn this like a few times, and then we're gonna bring the rotor up and see how it is. Get your rotor. You want to bring it up and just set it on there, and then you want to go inside and set your transfer case to neutral. Okay, now that you set that to neutral, all the wheels are free to spin. So now you just want to kind of go, and you just want to feel some light resistance. So if you guys can hear, that, some good resistance. I think it's personally just a little too much. So what I'm going to do is just get that adjuster and then push it back just a little bit. And I think that's pretty good. So now we're going to clean everything up and then put it back together. We'll get our rotor first and some paper towels. I like to keep a lot of white paper towels. Real cheap stuff, none of that really cool stuff you use for like eating and stuff. Some more of that 50 States. And then wipe down. See, there's a lot of dirt, rust and dirt up in here. So you want to clean all that off so you have a good surface for braking. And that's good enough for me. Next, we're going to need to clean this rear surface where the disc brakes work at. And again, you can see all that brake dust and dirt accumulating on my piece of paper towel. Alright, now that you're looking at the hub, you want to get some anti-seize. I just like to use this Permatex anti-seize lubricant. And lube up a few things. First, this hub-centric ring right here for my spacers, so they just come off easy. And also this face. So if I need to take off the spacers, don't have any problems. They don't seize together in my sleep. And then when I wake up, they destroy my life. Now we're going to put on those brakes. Make sure you're not touching the braking surface that you just cleaned. Contaminate it with your humanly oils. Okay, now that goes back on. And now I'm going to get some more anti-seize. Put some on this face right here. Okay, that'll be fine. Get my wheel spacer. Actually, first I'm going to put some blue Loctite on these threads. Put the spacer back on. So now you just want to put everything back together. Torque down your spacer if you have it. If you have spacers, put on the caliper bracket, put it on the caliper, and then put on your wheels. And then torque everything down to spec, drop the car down, and then test out your parking brake.